Good evening. You are tuning in with Enchantress the Babbler, aka Jennifer Molina, the one who is definitely not in the mood today. Hip hip hooray. This is video number 3. I don't even want to record. Because that's the mood in me today, that I am allowing myself to display and share the processes of many things that exist within all beings, you see. But I'm allowing me to be free, and the uncomfortable part of me is not that I'm not going to do this, you see, anyways, this inner deep going inside of me. I do this naturally on my own. I've gotten used to, just that's what I do. I remember too, even in junior high school, whoever was my best friend, and or high school, the one that was my best friend, offering tips all the time of things that they can do on their own time, even if it was, I always tell everybody, it's not about the clocking of time, of how much time you put in, it's the quality of time and the value of time that you put in, the commitment you give, you see. So nobody's ever riding it out with me, really. They try, and I've seen something that have mentioned, let's say 10 years ago, all of a sudden now being told, oh my god, so I really did start doing, and I didn't say anything, I just, I was gonna see what's gonna happen. Anyway, you see the change, and it's just even that acknowledgement for that person to themselves about, oh my god, you know what, as outrageous and how simple certain things can be, that we constitute magic, so it can't be, because it's so simple, you see, of little things. Say hello to Ebony, that stop it, that can assist you and be a major loving healing tool for you, that what will feel like something you have to enforce and set in, because it's not your typical way of being. So in order to seed anything, you have to create the seed first, and and plant it and water it, you know what I mean? So, which is what most people don't do. You don't stick with certain things, and it's, we all have something that we can, if we dig within our shrine, that we can pull up, even if something so silly as, I'm gonna give a bad example, so I'm not gonna even give an example, but it could be something so silly to what was I even saying? There's so much going on, and I know that, that this too is part of this for me, which you won't see, but this vulnerability of I forgot what I was saying. I know where it's coming from with me, because I'm very conscious of that, you see, because I'm uncomfortable. Like I said, I don't even want to record, but I do, but I don't. But but the part of me that doesn't and gives in and lets the overwhelming energy take in, at the end, I feel disappointed, because I didn't do what I wanted to do, because I was in a mood. You know what I mean? So, is part of why I keep, letting slip my mind sometimes when I'm in the middle of saying something and I forget, because you are also just know, and I know that I over-explain myself too, but, you know, that's part of these tools for whatever reason I gotta do, because I had to get through my awareness, when it came into awareness of my constant need to defend myself when I speak or over-explain myself in so many things. That was a need that was compelled from within me, that was a root in me that was misaligned with me, but I didn't see that, and I always did that. And it's always been like, you know, by people that be like, why are you explaining yourself? Yeah, you know, you shouldn't. You know, you're right. And then, you know, how do I get into that sight? You know, I have to identify, because there are other times in my life where I can bring up for review that I have been adamant that I don't need to explain myself to you. So I'm like, okay, what's the difference, you see? So I bring up these two separate, like, experiences that are similar and different, like, because here, because of the over-explaining and defense mode that I have vibrated into my life in the past, and the experiences due to that I have had, is where I'm at. And just, you know, I'm not bringing up the past to throw the past in my face, or bringing up a memory to get, you know, to get stuck in that memory. No, this is the note taking, the conscious waking that identifies for me. Because how do I expect anybody outside, external from me, to ever get me, see me, vibe me, you know, like me, appreciate me, all these things that we think we crave and that we need, and that, you know, we seed in different ways. And don't let me get started on the ways that people seed and breed those kind of things in such nasty little ways that I've always let be, because I'm like, you know what, that is who they are, and that is who they choose to be. So let them be miserably on their own. And I was grateful for not feeling that way, which brings me back to video number 1, when I was trying to say before I turned it off, when I got to that place that I did not want to be today. Yes, and that's just honestly speaking. And you know what? I'm not saying it in a negative note. I know what I mean when I say what I mean, but it's the honesty in me. Like, wasn't happening. There's so much negative energy in that place alone, that what I'm experiencing now at this time for me, and just like, even just my uncomfortability with the purge that is happening in me, of, you know, just yesterday or the day before, something that was already coming to surface for me, because talking about these energies of this purge for me, I acknowledged within me that I was going to be met. I knew that there was going to be something that I had not yet have addressed, that I did suppress. That, oh my God, when I say the other day, when this revelation came into focus, I touched this. And meanwhile, even though I understand that everything is infinite and there's always going to be growth and there's always going to be things that I'm going to learn and grow and, you know, whatever, for the most part, and I'm very aware in this, and for this lifetime, for like even just karmically, you see, pretty much done. So this thing that came up for me even this week, of something that was sewed into me by an experience that was devastating for me at such a young age that I thought I had healed from, which was even something that I wrote about, even just bringing up my mother this week. That for so many years I couldn't even speak of her because it hurt to do so. And whenever I did do so, it was very limiting and very short, because I was still overwhelmed with how much hurt I felt. We all do it at different times, that there's certain things that happen in our lives that hurt us in ways that we feel like, why me? I'm not a bad person. And then, just think about the things we tie to a lot of things, and we tie to a lot of things. Well, I didn't acknowledge a very huge fear-based something that, because of that experience of losing the woman that I freaking idolized with all my heart, my mind, and heart and soul. I loved my mama, sure did. Appreciative was I, very young, of having her in my life. And so even now, when I go back in memory about certain behaviors that now I understand a little bit more due to maturity and just even learning me. And the knowing but not acknowledging, which explains my attachment to my mother the time I had her, of how I was glued to her. I didn't know how, I didn't know what, because I didn't trust it. But I knew, some part of me always knew, she was going soon. But because that didn't feel right, and that's not something you want to bring into life, you dismiss it upon sight. And that was young Jennifer thinking about what she was receiving and being prepared for, but didn't accept either, or see clearer, because hello, I am a child at this time in this human life that I'm experiencing. What do I know? The adults around me are supposed to know everything, and meanwhile I'm surrounded by a bunch of tyrannical, freaking ego-driven, hurt people that hurt people. And they took the one people. That's how I felt. So, I was mad. And then, I grew up in a Catholic background in this lifetime around, that I had certain things that I had to abide in, tradition, freaking baptism, confirmation, communion, all that stuff, catechism classes, and all that wonderful stuff that I loved. Not in the way that you would think as a devoted Christian Catholic or anything kind of way, and not saying that I was disconnected from my God in any kind of way, but I had questions. And things, that didn't match certain things, but I've always wanted to know more, so I explored. And so I've always opened the door since I can remember to evolution. And I was always grateful, even though when I was young that me and my dad didn't really get along, he allowed me to visit, because I was truly curious, and I would always get invites and stuff, and people that wanted me to come to their churches, different denominations and stuff, and here I am trying to search for this genuine connection, that although I had fun in Catholic school, CCD classes and stuff like that, because I had friends and we made this time fantastic. It was a nice time to get out of early from school once or twice a week and be taken to our CCD classes where we didn't take seriously, and so it was fun times for, you know, all of us in those classes. And then I did make a lot of connections because, you know, humanitarian am I, and then having to ride that kind of ride where, you know, I had to do this, so I did it, you know, that was part of it. I found this, that's how I'm able to genuinely do things that that are like mundane or repetitive in some way, boring, some may say, complying to these ways that are being displayed and said that we must abide and do, you know, conformity, the rule. I'm not that kind of rebel that wants to challenge that kind of system. I do listen, and I like unity and community. So although I can work alone, which I love, I do work really well with others when it comes to serving a purpose, which is why, like, even when I went to CCD classes and did all my baptism, my communion, my confirmation, I stayed longer as an outside curricular activity because I took the after you had your confirmation, and if you were good and had, you know, a good maybe Sister Pat recommendation, you can train like on the weekends or like whatever, with the pastors and the teachers there, to be like a Catholicism teacher, assistant and whatever. So I love children's, and children's loves me. So for like a good 2 or 3 years, even after all of that, even though I had a relationship with God, but I was looking for God. Like, I didn't connect with the Catholic religion, and I tried. I gave it a lot of attention, and let me tell you, I've read the Bible many, many times, various ways, got many kind of different texts to read and books to read and churches that my dad allowed me to go visit and see openly, and really being present and not just getting lost in the energy. I wasn't conscious that this was like exactly how it was happening to me, but again, in time you shall see. And this is what was happening. Like, I was searching for real. And a lot of the things that I was able to see with clarity was how energy feeds and people receive, and so they believe, but they don't think. You know what I mean? And then they live a life of contradiction, but with some freaking solid biblical constitution that is their religion, that they will ignite a war if you say anything outside that is not in that constitution of their line. And so I have truly, because I don't want to go there in terms of like starting a riot, but I have silenced many responses in me because I'm like, girl, you take that there, you're gonna freaking chased by a mob. Because they're gonna be like, witch, bitch, whatever it is that they're gonna say, demon, you're possessed by, you know, whatever. All this stuff's making life even more rough. So I just shut the fudge up. I tell you, I guess I've been playing this game for a very long time because, you know, but again, for me, it was keeping peace because it's right. But I wasn't aligned. And so during that time was a huge seed of marination within me that suppressed me, silenced me, and numbed me to that kind of disease within me, paralyzing me, where the fiery Jen that used to stand up and argue, even though that was wrong, and that's what I used to beat myself up about, like, because, you know, I get what they're saying, you shouldn't talk that way, you shouldn't talk back, because that's how we're conditioned to be with our children. You see, I am the adult, I am the mom, I am the dad, you listen to me, and that's it, you see? What tragedy of such ego, pride, and lazy way of handling something that you don't know how to handle, so you shut your kids down because they're making you feel a type of way that's a trigger for you. But you know, what does fear tactics do? They want to silence you. Tyrants? I don't even know where I learned this word, but I've been saying it since I was about 4. Calling everyone in my family a tyrant, except my grandpa. I love my grandpa. He's always been just mad chill, and I've appreciated that, and he's always had my back. Because I was, you know, because the higher part of him in wisdom, even though he just really doesn't give a shit. Leave him alone, give him his beer, he's happy, and leave me alone. I watch my games, you know, he's just like, even though he don't deal with things until riots come out, and then he's the law and stops it from all going, you know, too crazy. When he came in, that's when everybody knew that they needed to stop whatever war they were about to freaking continue or do, because he never gets mad, which is kind of like how I am. Interesting. I've never made that connection, because that's always been my justification to myself and my forgiveness for myself for when it has gotten to that point. Because I tell people all this, like, it's not that I tell people all the time, it's just how it is. Like, even like in raising my daughter, like the people that know me, you know, at that time and have experienced me, you know, we journeyed together in our lives, so we shared a lot of, you know, growing times. They, since Olivia was young, would tell her, you are super lucky because your mother has the patience of a saint. And meanwhile, my kid is good. She's not, you know, like, I'm not saying she was doing anything that is not, like, oh my God, like, she's so bad or anything like that. But it helped me to learn, too. That is, you know, something that I, even before having my daughter, because of my experience as a child, the thing I used to cry when it was happening to me, like, just, you know, just the unfairness of a lot of things, because they can. Like, that's not right. Where's the love? I had made up a song when I was little, and I used to sing it all the time. And I documented my own treatment and processed it at the top of the stairs when I used to sing this song. Even acknowledging that although I was singing it, I mean, just dramatic because, you know, kids want attention, especially if they're not getting it in the way that, the kind of affection that they want to receive it in and deserve to receive it in, because you know what? These are the most purest creatures around until we funk them up somehow. Their light is pure. And they deserve your love more, especially if they're yours. So, I guess I've been studying, well, going through the heat, feeling every beat, going back to sleep, waking up positive, try again, because there's more to this, man. This can't be life, man. You know, crying to myself like, this can't be it. There's more to this. I know there's more to this. This can't be it. Oh yes, I have cried for so many years that shit. Lock myself in the bathroom, just like, really, like, this can't be it. This can't be it. That's some scary shit. Reality hits and you're like, what? And then I cry for God. God, are you there? I don't feel you. You know, that kind of thing, but I commune with you, but just don't acknowledge you. But what is you? This thing that, you know, I always had a problem saying God, so I never really said God either. I learned, and I mean, I understood now as, like, years later. Please note that when I just couldn't say it, or when I said it, it didn't feel real. Because remember what I was talking about in the other videos too, that, you know, you can say whatever the hell you want, but your feelings about whatever it is that you're saying, if it ain't the same, whatever it is that you are feeling is the very thing that you're vibrating and marinating into existence. So for me, I had complications with saying God, because that's, and then it made me even go through the whole thing. Am I a feminist? Like, because God's male. You know, wow, these males in my life, except for my grandpa. Are not anything that I'm understanding as godly, if that's how you want me to see, and then try to tell me, you know, I'm like God energy, but still sell me masculinity. But then also the next line will say that we are all made in the image of God. Okay, well, you know what, guys? I came out with a damn vagina. So what's going on here? You know, these questions I had, dear. And it wasn't that I was knocking religion. Just, hello, I love to read with understanding. And because I have like a super imagination, and that everything that I like read or hear or see, I see and I hear and I feel, which is why, like, you know, when I did watch TV or movies and stuff like that, I'm the one crying for the most stupidest things. Even happy movies, you see me crying. Like, people laugh at me all the time. Like, what is wrong with you? That was beautiful. You know, and then I remember when I started really, like, because I've been reading my birth chart and astrology since maybe, I think for my birth chart, I don't remember how I came across, like, it's different books. You have to just find the parts. Like, they tell you how to do it, and then you find the piece and you read, and I had the books to read through it, and I would read, like, you know, my moon sign, my Venus, like, you know, all these different things. Wherever I was at intellectually during that time is however I digested and processed it. So I always intuitively knew. You go back as you grow, because everything, you know, like what you read now and what you read it, and if you read it again 10 years later, there's something that you will receive that is elevated for you later in that growth. You'll see it too if you want to acknowledge it too, because some people just be like, oh, I loved it, I saw it 100 times. It's just like, I have my movies that I've seen 100 times, and do you know that 100 times that I've seen the movies, every experience of it was different? I wasn't, like, it was like every single time that I watched it again, I was met with something else that I loved about it and that I didn't see the last time that I had seen it. I really mean this. So it's like that with reading. So I've been reading my birth chart over and over in different variations, different documentations, for a very long time, and every single time I go back to it and I read it, and I even been able to note what I still disagree with. I'm like, you better stop it. That's not me. And coming to terms with even that I see, and just even my own understanding of birth charts now. How profound. I'm writing my own now. But yeah, so anyways, these things I say, I start babbling in so many ways. Anyways, yeah, so I said a whole bunch of stuff, and I forgot which one I left off with and which one I didn't finish and which one not. I know I was talking about the CCD classes, you know, that I taught the, I went there. Anyways, so much to say. You're gonna have to, like, follow me on here, subscribe to my channel if you ever want to get the whole damn picture and angle, because infinite, you see, there are so many connections made, infused, understood, and poured into light for me for many reasons. Yes, it begins with me, you see. This is for me. But I am just a piece of a piece of a piece of a piece. That is something that is great and whole. That I do know. I may not know exactly the whole, but regardless of what, something's happening here. What is any of this here? Like, what's happening here if you know, if it's not real? Something's real. I'm real. So with whatever this deal is, I'm going with how I feel and know to be real. And that is reality for me. And that is a new discovery for me, because when I came out of my mother's womb, you see, I was told everything. And so my resistance to those everythings that didn't ride with me, feel right with me, yet conditioned within me, and the battle that created with me having with myself, the one that I didn't even know for myself, I can see and I can truly forgive and let go of everything before that I didn't know, and appreciate the flow of just even my own growth and understanding and being in full alignment with this process of even addressing myself for stuff that shamed me too, like, not proud of, dude, and didn't like for myself too, of actions and choices I've made that I would never do now. Like, you know, but like, again, to get like there, because I had gotten there, never again, but still beating myself up. Even though I figured out how and can understand and determine, you know, like, I am who I am, that certain experience and conditionings and things that we choose in life are based off of the things that we have experienced through our own conditioning, and whatever it is that we're missing, fearing, lacking, attacking, all comes from this placement we're placed in. And like, whoa, I'm sold so much stuff and told that that's what it is. And then anything that goes outside of that or against that is not acknowledged or accepted or judged and overruled. Here comes the fool personalizing that and then internalizing that overrule that's freaking cruel and carry that and feel that and fight that and evolve in that and grow in that. Disconnect with oneself because they're taking in everybody else's freaking health. State of health is freaking state of health in this planet is freaking forced upon you. Everything you do. So then that'll be the question that people like to mind funk you to with, like, okay, so then if you get this, that even somebody that comes across this video that's not going to get it, and they're like, what the hell is this girl talking about? And then there's going to be those of you that are like, whoa, like, it just makes sense, you know, for you in whatever way it is, and or maybe it confirms, affirms, strengthens, seeds, something that, you know, breeds some beautiful within you that has so much potential to do anything you dream of to do, feeling you, vibing you, knowing you, rocking with you, and loving you. Yo, it changes everything when you put that finger down, turn it around, and go, me, without feeling, too, that that's selfish because of the energy behind our conditioned understanding of what selfish is usually perceived or received as. Like, because for someone to call, in our conditioning, if somebody calls you selfish, you get offended. Like, I'm not selfish. Somebody calls me selfish now, I'm like, yes! What else would I be? If I'm not selfish, you see? What? That leaves you to be what? In charge of me? Dom status is me. Oh, wait till that story comes out. Oh. Anyways, learning experiences in this life. I had like a little even car epiphany about my journey. I've always called myself the traveling work gypsy because of my history of working and changing companies all the time. Like, I always used to give myself, I'd be like, let's see how long this is gonna last, like a year, 2. Like, you know, there was only like one job that I stood at that I truly excelled at and liked. Although that was an opening of me in discovering career ideas for me that my true friend of mine at that time would tell me, what the hell are you doing here? You don't belong here. But because the monetary gain was excellent and I was appreciative of even just being able to have been accepted into that, you know, the fashion industry, of just how that is, and being able to excel and do well for myself in that and see that there could be a career and ridiculous growth in that for me. I'm good at this. It's just It's like robotic. Like once I learn it and master it, I excel. I do really well within any industry, of company, of organization, and structure, and keeping order of their business, of their revenue, of anything. These titles that mean something in this world. The search of wanting to feel and show our success, or be a success, because that is what this world sells best. Titles and labels at best, and luxury at its finest. Meanwhile, you got the same damn workshops in various different places, even in the States, not just, you know, overseas, making the same clothes by the same makers. This is creators, folks, and business at the end of the day. Factories that make everything. And yeah, certain materials may change. Oh, you could use this fabric, it's a little bit more pricier than the next. But you're all getting the same damn thing and paying for a name that you have engraved as what is the collective opinion on what is fashionably in and everything. I had to battle this too, part of me too, because, like, you know, the part of materialism, when I decided I had to let that go and grow, because there was another route that I didn't want to know, that I had to get to know, and like a whole bunch of like growth that I had to let go to know the control and find my truth of what it is that I want to do. What is it that I feel that I'm not acknowledging? What is my real? He was right. And at that time, I was adamant too, that because I wanted to get into the sales aspect of it too, that, and the salary is way more higher for that too, and I had every opportunity that if I wanted to, I could have. Friends that are wise see through many a disguise. And he said, no. You can do it. You want to do it. I'm going to tell you that it's not for you. And you're not going to want to do it. And then, what? You're going to quit and then feel like bad about it? Because you quit, you don't quit, you don't do that. We don't quit, you get through. And of course, I took offense. I can't do it. Because I wasn't hearing the revealing that I wasn't seeing, but, you know, still connected to the inner voice in me that has in my life, even though, you know, asleep. I do listen. Just, you know, there's certain levels of acknowledgement, too, of a lot of things that we do, innately do. During that time when something rang loud, when he said it another time, like, it is not for you. I didn't want to take offense. And so I dived in. That's what I do best. To really reflect and introspect, like, what's being said. And I can't say that it was that moment that I got it. But I remember when I did, because I laughed. I was like, oh, hell no. I don't want to do that. That's definitely not for me. You know, I got... for moments, led astray by the glamour that was on full display, because I was only looking at the monetary gain of, like, how much more I can make. And I have the opportunity to take if I really wanted to do that. So I'm glad I didn't do that, because it would have been really quick when I would have been able to realize because it took me back to a time, the only time that I've ever worked retail was in high school. I did a clothing store, and I did that to pay for my junior high into senior year of high school, my senior dues and all that stuff. Something that I didn't allow myself to feel pride for, that I wanted to experience the high school kind of experience and be able to go to like the prom and participate in those kind of things, my senior trip and all that stuff. And I knew that my family was not going to be able to do that for me if I wanted. So I wanted, you see, so I got a job. I got a job. I've always been working since I was about 13, 14. Even before I got my working papers, because, you know, I just didn't have that reliability in my life where it was coming in like, or you get an allowance so that I could get things. The only way to get things is I gotta get things. So, you see, when I was responsible for like babysitting my sister and picking her up from school, which was never like a responsibility for me, that is what I wanted to do. That was what was right to do. So it wasn't like a burden for me. Like, I am supposed to pick up my sister. I am supposed to take her to school. That is great for me. That is exactly what I do. Responsible I was in that department, because that was my job for me. Like, and it's not even a job. It just was so natural. Like, I didn't mind. So, you know how like some parents impose their older children on taking care of their younger children because they gotta work, they gotta do stuff, and they're like, well, you gotta pick up your brother, you gotta pick up your sister, you gotta do this. And, you know, the older kids like, they resent this and stuff. No, that wasn't me. Like, I loved it. You see, I was there with care and love. And so that's how it was. I tell you, like, anyways, she was the first tail I grew. So, and even the understanding when I received, like, that true epiphany of why I wouldn't be able to do sales, it continues to grow for me in my own understanding, that I laugh at it. I'm like, wow, I wonder how I would have did that. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Especially when I started working closer with the designers in the company and would be in the showroom a lot, like, and then I got to observe sales meetings and their meet and greets with their own clients that come in. The sales that they got to win and bring in, which they do. Those ladies in that job, let me tell you, the worst product. That was sweet. Because these ladies can be mean. But my journey with learning through them, which was rocky in the beginning, but again, that was me not seeing certain things because of my tainted view, which was a collective judgment that I absorbed a little, and just not that I felt like that, like, towards them, even though, you know, you pick up, you know, how when people act snooty, better than everybody, because, you know, they're needed and they are important and self-important, that kind of thing. You know, the very thing that, you know, others, like, you know, the martyrs and stuff like that, lack in their lives. So, for me, because my family, too, like, I had to learn to identify, you know, my family, too, egomaniacs, in my eyes, growing up. People that are, like, prideful and braggy and arrogant, you see, and not nice to everybody, just select hierarchies and people. Those are not like my kind of people. Like, I can't say because I've grown in many ways. I have had friendships with people that our personalities are completely different, and they may be like that sometimes, all the time, a lot of the time. But I'm no judge's eye. Like, I go with the vibes. Like, so, I tend to, the people that are in for whatever time that they're in, note that if you're in with me, it's because I already seen the whole now consciously. This is not like before. And I'm okay with that for me at this time because of whatever vibe, you know, we're vibing on. And so selective I can be, but like, you know, there's just certain energies that preferably, which now I accept, that's okay, you see, that I just can't like be around. And instead of getting to really know them, because the only parts that I got to see of them before actually working a little bit closer with them, went with the collective judgments of everybody of just like their dislike and judgment of how they felt about these kind of people that many times didn't treat them nice. So I'm conscious of like my absorption of a lot of things. You know, I guess I have been judgmental. It wasn't intentional. But again, I truly do see genuineness and they're not bad people. And they had my respect. Because although as confident and how they carried themselves to be, and even if they weren't nice always to me in every kind of way, or even just in the beginning when they didn't even acknowledge my existence, I'm like, alright, I'll still say hi to you. That's all I am. Hi. Well, you don't say hi to me. Bye. You know, but still of how you know, take that in, like, you know, that's what you're getting. They don't I'm trying to find the right kind of way to say, like, well, that setting with those chicks that were, they're on their, you know, they were on their grind, like they were excellent, and I think they're still there, people for that company and bringing in and working together, even if sometimes stormy weather, you know, because you got a lot of opinionated, like strong goddesses that have the answers to everything too. But you know, they work for it because that's what they want. And think about the insecurity of the energy that in them getting even to that place, that space of, you know, success for themselves, that, you know, allowed for this superiority to like seep in to their system of this display, one of many displays, because we all have many displays. Those that don't feel that way and are on the other page, let's say, or the other office or other position or other, you know, bracket of salary and position in that company that maybe have felt a type of way or felt treated a type of way. Think about the energy that they displayed before they got treated that way. That silent wave of hate or jealousy or judgment that they receive because somebody's uncomfortable and can't just be neutral about who they are, because these people are like intimidated. So think about over the years what kind of, you know, and most of these people here are not like conscious, like in the sense that they're like processing all of this in their lifetime. This is just the natural flow of how things grow. You know, their reserved nature to the people that can be appeared as like a hater, but they won't say that, and so they, in their detachment to that kind of energetic harassment of a feeling that's just intuitive in your way. Maybe you could have handled it a better way. You don't have to be mean or like, you know, dismissive of this other being. But, you know, again, marinations and upbringings and lifestyles that are not the same. I mean, they come from different, you know, lives altogether, you know. They handle it like a champ. So it seems, or like, you know, like I'm trying to give it a word. It's really not even that. I'm just saying it's just the way, you know, you just got to think of power. They're confident in their power. Like the ones that I can say that I worked with, we all suffer from our own levels of insecurities and fears and healings that we have to deal with. I'm not taking that away from them, from their life experiences, because they found their levels of success that they uphold best. These particular ones, no matter their air of superiority, respect quality work. And even if they may be standoffish in the beginning, energy is real. I grew on them. You know, so anyways, it's not what this was supposed to be about, but oh my god, it's 57 minutes. I'm gonna stop this one right now, and I guess there's gonna be a video number 4, because this is the longest one I have recorded. If you are here, oh my god, thank you. Stay tuned for video number 4, so I can figure out some more and not finish what I was saying, so that I can continue it later, whenever later is, which could be in 5 minutes, who knows, but let's see. Amen.